The Laetum is one of those weapons that, once you get them, even though it takes a while to reach the required mastery rank, which is 14, you will basically never need any other weapon again. This weapon will make you go through basically most of the game, doesn't matter star chart level, steel path, level cap, like, it can do it all without too much of a trouble. Getting the weapon blueprint is pretty easy, you just need to go to the Zariman Chrysalid. Once you're in there, just teleport to Cavallero. Click Browse Wares, and here the Laetum is. To craft it, you need 1 Void Plume Pinion, a few credits, 5 Void Plume Quill, Void Gel Orb, and Ferrit. Ferrit and credits, I'll assume you already have them, you're mastery rank 14. You will probably for sure have some Void Gel Orb, because you can get it while playing the Chrysalid missions. Well, for the Void Plumes, there are a few options. I'll show you just the quick ones. For the Void Plume Quill, just go back, teleport to Queen, open the bounties, and do any bounty that you will, and you will get them at the end of the quest. As you can see, Void Plume Quills per 5. This is the highest level mission. When it comes to Void Plume Pinions, instead, I suggest you to kill a Void Angel. A good way to find them is looking in the bounties if there's any that requires you to kill an angel or even more. Right now there's none, so honestly speaking I would just wait. In case you don't wanna wait, you can still go inside normal bounties and missions of the Chrysalid and find an angel either way. I just like having it pinged for me instead of having to look for it, because I'm lazy. You can then go to the Archimedean Yonta and trade for Void Plumes. Here you can get whatever Void Plume you want. Once you complete the various challenges to unlock the various like incarnon modifications, you need to go to Cavallero, evolve incarnon weapon, click on the weapon itself, and here you will be able to unlock this stuff. If you don't like doing it from here, you can obviously do it in your arsenal. The only thing is I do not remember if you first need to unlock the first evolution on Cavallero and then go on the arsenal, but you can see you've got this here. You can press on it and just call it a day. By itself, this weapon is not that interesting, but what makes it actually really interesting are the various evolutions of the incarnon form it has. For the first evolution, which basically makes you be able to have the incarnon form for this weapon, you need to kill 100 enemies with the weapon itself, and then you will unlock this buff. For the second evolution, you need to kill 8 Eximus with the incarnon transmutation, which is a thing that you can really easily do in the Elite Sanctuary on slot, and it gives you 3 upgrades, which you can choose from. Minus 40% weapon recoil, which is really good, but you'll see later on why I'm not using it. Rapid Wrath, which increases the fire rate by 20%, which is extremely great. It basically increases your DPS. And last but not least, Raptor's Chase, that gives you more movement speed when aiming, and you can imagine this is the least important of them all. When it comes to the third evolution, you need to land 8 headshots on Void Angels without reloading. Obviously, using mods that increase your magazine capacity is a great have, but like, you don't really need it. Just go in any Zariman mission in the Chrysalid and you can do this, literally. You just have to find Void Angels. Big bonus to make this easier, if you find missions that have it as a bounty, so that you will be sure to find one Void Angel easily. For what you get as evolutions, you get on headshot plus 30% reload speed for 12 seconds, and it stacks up to 3 per, which is really great since reload speed is pretty slow on this weapon. Then you got Awakened Readiness, which gives you basically a reload when you do not use the weapon. And last but not least, Feather of Justice, which gains some efficiency while gliding and sliding. Obviously, this is by far the best one of them all. They're all kinda fine. This evolution, I'd say, is the least important of them all. When it comes to the fourth evolution, you need to close 12 Raptors in the Void Flood. So just go there, public, to make it easier and faster, and close them until you finish it. And it unlocks one of the most interesting upgrades. The first you have is Caput Mortum, which is plus 15% headshot damage, which is used in crit builds of this weapon. Then there's the Incarnon Efficiency, which you basically get the Incarnon form way faster. And last but not least, which is what I use for my build, Elemental Excess, which gives you plus 20% status chance and minus 10% critical chance. The reason why I chose this perk is because of how I chose the last evolution, the fifth one, that you can unlock completing a solo mission with an Incarnon weapon equipped in every slot. And this is one of the most important upgrades, because here you can choose which build path to go on this weapon. At first we got Devouring Attrition, which is what I'm using, and it has a 50% chance to deal plus 2000% damage on non-critical hits, in which you can see why I got the 4th evolution, right, which is less critical chance. The second upgrade is Reaper's Plenty, which, honestly speaking, is the least useful, let's say. On headshot plus 40% ammo efficiency for 6 seconds, I mean, sure, whatever. And the third one, which is another really great one, and there are builds that are focused on this. Overwhelming Attrition, which, in case you deal damage that is not a crit and does not apply status effect, it gives you a buff of plus 400% damage for 10 seconds that can stack up to 3 times. This is really strong. And usually you will see like a swap between the status chance build, which uses Devouring Attrition and Elemental Access, and the critical build, which uses Overwhelming Attrition, and instead of Elemental Access, it would use the Caput Mortuum. Another evolution that some people swap is Lethal Rearmament with Awakened Readiness. I just do not need the reload while it is holstered, to be fair, especially because this is a one-stop weapon, right? It can do it all by itself. And the same goes for the second evolution, in which some people like getting the Marksman end, but you can do it inside the build itself, so it doesn't matter that much. Now that we've seen its evolutions, we can go ahead and spawn some Heavy Gunners to show you how this weapon works. By itself, like, it is honestly a really pretty simple weapon, right? You shoot in the body, you deal damage. You shoot in the head, you got a headshot multiplier, which is pretty neat. And the more you shoot in the head, the more the incarnon form gets loaded. Obviously, it goes with any weak point. So if the weak point is not the head, but maybe this is the mirror, like the Tekrot, the screen, sorry, little screen, it counts. You can press the middle mouse button, at least that's what the default keybind is, to load up to the incarnon form, but you'll see one thing that changes. Based on how much you loaded the meter, you get ammo. This is a one-time magazine. You cannot reload while you're in the incarnon form. I have 162 ammos, and those are all the ammos that I will ever have. And you can, whenever you want, go back to the normal form, but you will lose all the progress that you have. Even though I have 150 plus bullets in my magazine right now, if I go back to the normal Laetum, I lose it all. A really cool thing though, when you do this, every time the Laetum goes back to the normal form from the incarnon one, you get your ammo back. So, let's make an example. I shoot a few shots, see, I've got 8 ammo, incarnon active, remove the incarnon, 12 shots. No need to reload, which is great. Now, let's go back and let's take a full incarnon form. This weapon by itself is not like especially great. It does not have anything wow by itself in this normal form. But once you go to the incarnon form, it becomes a mass murder weapon. The biggest difference that it has is not only the fire rate, which becomes from a like single bullet pistol to a automatic fire one. But as you can see, it has an AoE damage. And as you're watching right now, probably you noticed it, it does radiation damage. And keep in mind, this weapon, right now, I'm using it with a completely blank build, just to show you. This is the build I'm using to showcase it. So the radiation damage is intrinsic to the incarnon form. And the explosion has a pretty good AoE range. Like, it is not extremely high, but yo, like, this is pretty good. Especially in missions with multiple enemies stacked on top of each other, this deals a lot of explosion damage. Now let's see a few interesting facts about this weapon, and most importantly, like, its ammo magazine and transformation. First of all, if you upgrade it and we put some reload speed on the weapon, you can notice, once we get some headshots in, because we need to be able to transform, the incarnon form will be faster. So the higher reload speed you have, the faster the incarnon mode will be created and dismantled. Another interesting thing, I'll show it to you by charging it once again fully, so that you can see it properly. It has 216 ammos, right? Ammo capacity. Trickmag will be fine. You may think that it increases the amount of ammo you get in the incarnon form. But actually, you would be wrong, because it doesn't matter what mod you put in that regard. It will always be, if I remember correctly, 18 shots for each weak point you hit to a maximum of 216, as you can see right now. Obviously, as you may imagine, the explosion that I made you see in the incarnon form can be benefited by some mods, for example fulmination. To be fair, you could use this in a low level build, but I'm a lazy ass, so the build I will show you is a generic purpose one that will work either for level 10 enemies or even level 500, as you've seen probably in the intro of the video. Since this weapon requires mastery rank 14, I will only give you one build, cause I assume you will have every mod that you need. Starting with Galvanized Diffusion to get some always appreciated multi-shot that stacks really well on kill through the incarnon form that does AoE damage. And after that, Lethal Torrent to increase the multi-shot even more, and get some fire rate, which is something that this weapon is missing, including like the projectile speed. After those two mods, we got Hornet Strike to increase the base damage of the pistol by quite a while, and Augur Pact, which does the same thing and should be theoretically be swapped with like a Primed Bane of Grineer or Orokin's Might or whatever faction mode you want, right? But I'm a lazy ass, I always say it, I don't want to change the build every time I need to do a different mission, so I found Augur Pact as the best kind of middle ground. After that we got Pistol Elementalist that increases the status damage, and this weapon deals a lot of status, especially in the incarnon form. And other than that, it gives us some reload speed, which is really great to have. Then we got Pistol Pestilence to get some more status chance and Toxin, paired with Frostbite to get even more status chance and Cold, which will make viral. And last but not least, Primed Hit Charge. Obviously you can use the normal one if you don't have the heated one, or you can even substitute it with the 60/60 mod, which is called Scorch in case you needed to search it. When it comes to the arcane, I use Cascadia Flare since we apply the heat status really frequently. Obviously you can even change it with secondary Merciless, or if you go for a crit headshot build, which I did not, I went for a full status build, you can even replace with secondary Deadhead. And for the Exilus mod, I do know people want more projectile speed, so you could put another form and put Lethal Momentum on it. But I do really much prefer the less weapon recoil given by steady hands. As I've said, if you don't like it, just swap the second evolution to be the Marksman Hand, which reduces the recoil by 40%, put another Forma, and instead of steady hands, put Lethal Momentum to get some projectile speed. Both are fine. To showcase the build, let's first get our form up. As you can see, it deals a lot of damage even like normally in its normal form. These are level 120 steel puffy gunners, and they still get damaged quite a bit. Let's go get the incarnon form up and ready, and now you will see how freaking strong this weapon is. Like, I'm not even kidding. It needs like 2 to 3 shots and they all die. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't need to do anything. See? The cool thing, obviously, is, as I've said earlier, it explodes. So even if you do not shoot them directly, they freaking disappear. This is thanks to a few things. First of all, obviously, like, the weapon itself is extremely good. Second thing, if you may not see it, other than the weapon's innate radiation, we got the fire, the heat, however you wanna call it, which strips their armor to half. You see the armor icon has gone to half. Then we got viral, which lowers their health. Like, this is a pretty strong combination. I do know some people prefer magnetic and stuff, like, you're free to do it, but as I said, yo, I'll repeat it how many times you need to hear it. I'm a freaking lazy ass, I wanna have one build that does everything and never change it. Obviously, it is not the perfect way to go around it, for example, in really endgame content, let's say level cap, for example. But in general, the higher you go in level, the better it is to use faction mods, because they multiply in a way that is extremely strong. Still, do I wanna bother changing the build every time and seeing what faction I need to fight against? I don't. And I won't give you a build that I wouldn't use myself, right? I do know that at this point, like, this weapon has been talked about in every possible single way and tested in a lot of different ways to decide which is better between the crit build and the status chance build. Honestly speaking, I think both are great, but the reason why I gave you my build, which is the status one, is because I found it to be the most brain dead and extremely good generic purpose build that you can find on this weapon.